everyone, so Silver and I just finished chapter 840 of One Piece, and I gotta say the cover and this chapter was very classic One Piece to me. This is exactly the kind of thing I love. A lot of cute moments with animals, a lot of, going back into somebody's history, pulling at your heartstrings. What did you think about the chapter?
I'm glad you mentioned the cover, because the cover was fucking amazing. The person who requested it's a genius.
Yes, Hiking Bear was adorable.
I want to go on the record as saying that Hiking Bear is the greatest character in all of One Piece. I think he may have actually found the One Piece, because he walks around, he has such respect and confidence that I think he may have achieved all there is in this world.
I mean, Hiking Bear is definitely, I would say, probably my top 5 of, favorite One Piece characters, because I've just always loved Hiking Bear. I've always thought he was such a cute concept and an animal.
I like how scruffy he looks. He looks kind of like a teddy bear, but he also looks like he's kind of upset slightly, or concerned, but he's not, because he's so generous and polite. He's a true gentleman. And I liked that Kuma was there. He's an honorary bear.
Yeah, he is. So the first thing I want to go into is, we get the reveal that Judge is, behind all this. But I gotta say, though, him working with Vegapunk, does that make sense? Because Judge is kind of dumb. I didn't really peg him.
I was saying, I have a hard time believing he's a genius. He seems like an idiot.
Because I have a hard time thinking, so he was able to avoid the world government and still conduct these experiments on his own? The cloning?
So not only is he like Mecha Hitler, like Wolfenstein Mecha Hitler, but he's genius Wolfenstein Mecha Hitler. He's I don't know, like Tesla Mecha Hitler? What the fuck is, it's not believable. He seems like a moron.
Maybe it's when it comes to his ambition, he can create things really well, or engineer, or maybe he stole plans from Vegapunk, or he just remembers the process.
The way they told the story, they were portraying him like he was smart, but it's his son telling the story, so maybe he's not. But I'm assuming if we're not going to learn that I guess we just assume he's smart, whatever.
The other thing, too, so I like, too, when he gets all the kids all lining up dramatically.
In their order.
Cute little tiny tots all talking to them about, you are going to rule. It's just, really funny to me, but also
you got to indoctrinate early.
Yeah. And I love, Sanji with the turtle. And I like how even when Sanji was beaten up, the turtle stayed close to him because he sensed his kind heart. The turtle has this very knowing look.
The turtle thing reminded me of JoJo. If you remember in the beginning of Diamond is Unbreakable. Josuke has the turtle, and the one kid, I don't remember if he killed it or what he did to it, but then, Josuke heals him.
And he kicked it, too. I think they both, kicked the turtle really hard or something.
So there must be a trope of, bad people abusing turtles as children.
It's meaningful. If you're unkind to a turtle, you have a very cruel heart.
You're a white supremacist.
And you need to learn the way, which is what Sanji had. The other thing, too, later in the chapter, so one of the researchers says to Judge that the outer skeletons of the children have started to harden, which made me think
they have exoskeletons.
But so that made me a little confused, and I want you to clear this up for me. The children have modified genetics, but they don't grow fast like the soldiers, right? They don't grow.
No, they did. They mentioned that at one point. They say that that's why they're bigger than Sanji. In the flashbacks, in the later ones, normally. Yeah, they say that Sanji's a normal person, which I'm kind of suspicious about. How could he, if they messed with his DNA, how could he have turned out normally?
He kicks things so hard, I kind of feel like maybe he's got some special, fortification.
Well, but I mean, something. But I mean, Zeph kicked things hard. He wasn't genetically engineered. Rayleigh's super strong. Luffy's strong.
Yeah, but Sanji has the flaming kick and all these things that don't seem like a normal human could do them. I don't know.
But I don't think that's. I don't know if that's directly the genetic engineering. I think it's. I don't know, because Zoro's generally, most people think of Zoro being a little bit stronger than Sanji, and Zoro wasn't, made by taking all of the best samurai DNA and splicing it together to make, the perfect samurai.
But I guess, even his siblings, like, they all grew up normally anyway, because they all look around the same age. They don't.
They didn't.
Like,
they had an accelerated growing period. I think they don't age. I think they're all just like 20 forever or something.
Okay, that's what I was wondering about.
It's also unclear whether they're the original versions, right? Like, because the people, they talk about how they, I think they said in 5 years, they grow to 20. And they have, like, the full experience of someone who's 20.
Yeah, they
so I
have
guess they're
all their
implanting
life experience and memories.
Yeah, they must be
things.
implanting memories. And so I'm wondering, maybe the kids have died at some point and they replaced them. You know, it's like Venture Brothers.
But I do find it interesting because the whole, like, Ichiji, Niji, Sanji, it's not just the hierarchy or number 1 child, number 2 child, number 3. It also makes me think of clones. How, like,
just giving them numbers.
Parents sometimes, as a bad tease, will say to their kids, like, oh, don't act up, or I'm gonna, like, get your clone, and you're, whatever, then I'm not gonna, like, take care of you. Like, it makes me think of that.
Or a joke about you used to have a brother that we killed or something.
Yeah, or something like that. And so, it's just interesting to me how, they have this hierarchy, and they even remind Sanji, like, when they're beating him up and he can't fight back, like, we're gonna remind you of the hierarchy. But it's a different circumstance, though, because he's stronger.
Yeah, he's stronger than they are now. They taunt him as weak, but they have to blackmail him not to fight back because he kicked their ass. Yeah, it's very odd.
It's like they're not willing to see that.
They are willing to see it because their behavior shows that they see it because they're doing it because that's the only way they can win.
Well, what I mean is, like, they're still referring to Sanji with the hierarchy thing like they used to in the past.
Yeah, because they're assholes. It's just because he's really Oda's pulling out all the stops. He gets to hate them.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So, also the moment with the mouse, again, really cute. Or rat, rather. It looked like a mouse to me, but whatever.
That's a rat.
Mouse.
Yeah.
And, then Judge comes in, he, like, knocks over the food, and he says to Sanji, there is nothing to be gained by following the legacy of the dead. And he's referring to, like, his
so I don't know whether his mom loved animals or she loved cooking or both.
But either way, it still makes me think, like, oh, that's right. Sanji had to have had a mother. Who would be with Judge?
I don't know.
Must be, like, because he refers to her as, like, maybe she was kind. I don't know. Because Sanji reacts in a way like he's doing these things because he was taught to be kind to animals, or maybe it's just an innate thing in him.
But I do kind of love and I mentioned before, I compared Judge to, like, Hitler, and I think I said Tesla, but I mean more he's like Watson and Crick, right? Because they're saying that he discovered, like, the double helix and stuff, and it's if only Watson and Crick had known that they could have, become Nazis. Although, I think Watson's very racist, if I recall. He actually thinks, like, white people are better than everyone else, or something terrible like that. So that's always an interesting thing.
But, I mean, this is the classic theme, though, of, a parent being so focused about, like, their family and how they want their family to be specifically what they want, but that he's not noticing Sanji's own unique talents and skills when it comes to providing very tasty food, being kind to animals, having this interest.
They don't value any of those things because they're awful.
Having this interest in science, being very interested in science and the turtle, where the other children seem bored or irritated that he's interested, or, like, they're just they're bored by the topic in general. Like, Sanji has these unique things to him, but that's not what Judge finds, important, which I thought was kind of interesting because he does like science. There's an element to that, but, Judge doesn't care.
Where does he like science?
When he's looking at the turtle and he's opening up the book that says science, and he's really, like, reading the book and looking at the turtle, where the other kids are not at all. They're not at all doing that.
Yeah, they're just soldiers. Yeah, they're fodder for his army.
Like, we were thinking about Sanji's sister. We weren't sure about what was her aim or how she was doing things. So she's doing the classic thing a kid would do to survive in this type of situation.
Yeah, so we see that now she's a weak and cowardly character in the sense that she values her own well-being over that of other people when she knows they're being mistreated. It's relatable and it makes sense, but it
makes sense for a kid to do.
Yeah, but it does show that she's cowardly because so many other characters in One Piece would not do that. Luffy wouldn't have done that. Luffy would have stood up for somebody.
Yeah.
So
it takes.
And Sanji would have stood up for somebody, as we've seen him do. So
Yeah, it takes bravery to do that, and I wonder, like, I don't know, maybe later she'll do that. Maybe it'll be a setup thing where maybe she will
maybe
kind
she
of
helps him
stand up
escape
for him.
or something.
Yeah.
Like, I was kind of wondering, that's the thing set up at the end. You know, Sanji becomes the boy in the iron mask, and when we thought his backstory couldn't get any more fucked. You know, he's naturally sweet, he's caring, and he's being constantly physically abused, emotionally abused, verbally abused.
She has that little sweat drop of, like, she knows kind of like what is happening to her brother, where the other brothers are like, like, good riddance, like, he died, or, you know, like, did he die again or whatever, but she has this sort of look on her face, and we've seen it in other chapters, her being older. She is aware of, like, what's going on.
But she's led this whole life of being terrible anyway, so maybe she'll, you know, there'll be some sort of development where she helps him later, or maybe in the flashback she helps him. This also is interesting because we had theorized before we ever knew who Sanji was, in terms of his backstory, that maybe when he was young, he was close to his mother or another female character, and that was why he was so into protecting women and why he loved cooking, and we really don't get a sense of that. He just happens to love cooking, and because I was thinking that maybe when this first got introduced, that maybe, like, Judge had killed the mother, and, like, Sanji tried to defend her or something, some sort of thing like that. But we don't get a sense of that, so I thought that was interesting, because I expected that to come into play at some point. And maybe it still will somehow, but
maybe it will,
unclear.
Yeah, it might later, but yeah, him being left to essentially, I guess, starve to death in the jail. Like, I assume they're not going to be feeding him, because it looked like the iron mask was all over his face. So it looks like he was just left to die there. So it'll be interesting to see, like, how he gets out. How does he manage to leave? And yeah, overall, really good chapter and very classic Oda to me. A very classic One Piece. Okay, so that wraps up today's discussion on One Piece chapter 840. Please like the video if you liked our talk today, subscribe if you want to hear more anime and manga reviews, and let us know in the comments below, what did you think about this chapter, and how do you think Sanji is going to escape the prison? We'll see you again next time.